All right, today we are making Rhino Ribs. I love these ribs, especially for 4th of July barbecues, or really any long weekend. I just think this is a great way to cook the ribs. I got some spare ribs from the market, they were cheap, on sale. You can use any kind of rib. Baby backs are delicious as well. I'm getting prepared right now. We're going to use Rhino Rib Rub, the Rhino Reserve sauce, a little bit of French's yellow mustard to prepare these. You can use any one of the sauces, but I love this Rhino Reserve. It has a sweet, kind of smoky chipotle flavor and some chili de arbol, some red jalapenos. Really good flavor, great for barbecue. And we're going to use a 3-2-1 method smoking these ribs. And so the smoke is going to lend quite a bit of flavor. All right, we're getting started on some Rhino ribs. The first thing that I'm going to do is remove this membrane, which I've already gotten started here. I just use a paper towel to gently pull this off. Membrane, when you smoke it, tends to get pretty tough. And so I'm going to remove this just because I love fall off the bone ribs. If you don't like fall off the bone ribs and you prefer a little bit of bite, you don't have to remove the membrane. But it can get a little bitter. Super simple. Remove that. Just pull it off with a paper towel. Discard it. All right, the first step in preparing these ribs is we're going to get them marinated. And I like to marinate them overnight. So we'll marinate them tonight and we'll smoke them tomorrow. So first thing I'm going to start with is some yellow mustard. I prefer French's. You can use any kind of mustard. Dijon works great on this. If you prefer something a little more spicy, and whole grain mustard works fine as well. We're just using the mustard as a binder. This is going to help us hold our sauce, and it's going to help us hold our rub, and it adds a nice flavor as well. So I'm just going to slather these babies and rub them down. Some yellow mustard. All right, I'm going to rub these ribs, top and bottom, with the yellow mustard. And you'll notice I have a wet gloved hand, and then my other hand is dry so that I can use that to grab my bottles and spice bottles and such. And I won't touch the meat with that. All right, now we are going to add, boom, 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 Rhino Reserve. Let's get this thing saucy. All right, I used about a half a bottle of Rhino Reserve for the marinade. So about 2.5 ounces, both sides and all the cracks and crevices. And then what we're gonna do after we're done smoking the ribs is we're gonna make a little bit of sauce out of that Rhino Reserve to baste them with at the end. All right, we are getting a nice healthy dose of the Rhino Rib Rub all over these bad boys. We're going to rub it in there too, make sure it's in all the crevices and cracks. Use about a half cup total, so about a 1/4 cup on each side. We just want to make sure it's generously coated. And then we are going to put these ribs into a dish and cover them and let them sit in the fridge overnight. All right, we got our Rhino ribs heavily seasoned with the Rhino Rib Rub, marinating. We're gonna let those sit overnight, like 10 to 12 hours. And then we will smoke them tomorrow. All right, the ribs are done marinating. Now it is time to smoke them up. We're gonna throw them on the smoker, 200 degrees for 3 hours, unwrapped, using Traeger's wood pellet signature blend. All right, we're using our vertical pellet smoker to smoke these. We're gonna start it at 200 degrees for 3 hours, unwrapped, a little bit of water in the water pan. We're using Traeger's signature barbecue blend for the wood pellets. Let's smoke them up. All right, while those ribs are smoking, we are going to make a sweet and spicy chipotle barbecue sauce with the Rhino Reserve mystery batch. So I have 2 cups of crushed tomatoes. I have a cup of ketchup, I have a half a cup of apple cider vinegar, a half a cup of molasses, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. We're going to use 4 tablespoons of the Rhino Reserve Smoky Chipotle Mystery Batch. And then I have some paprika, salt, cracked black pepper, chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, crushed red peppers, and ground mustard as the dry spice. We're going to mix all this together and get our barbecue sauce ready to slather those ribs for the last hour of their cook. All right, we combined all of those ingredients into this bowl, and then we're going to put it into a medium saucepan and allow it to cook for about 20 minutes. All right, sauce is simmering and ribs are smoking. So we're gonna make our little wet mop for the second part of the rib smoke, which is covering them in tin foil. All right, ribs have been smoking now for 3 hours at 200 degrees. We're gonna pull them off and get them ready for step 2 in the 3-2-1 method. So we're gonna pull off these ribs and we're gonna mosey on over here to my foil. And we're gonna place these bone down. We do this so that the ribs bones don't poke through our foil boat. We want to create a nice little steam bath in here with our wet mop and our butter. All right, next up, we are going to create a boat. So we fold this up super tight on the sides and on the ends. Create a nice little magical boat here. All right, perfect. And then we are going to add 4 tables of our butter. 2, 3, and 4. We are going to add 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Right on top of the ribs. All right, and then we are going to add 1 cup of our apple cider and Rhino Red wet mop. Hit it with the sauce. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna seal this up real tight. We're gonna put it back into the smoker, seam side up, so that it doesn't leak out. And we're gonna smoke it for 2 more hours at 250 degrees. Let's do this. All right, we did 2 hours of the smoke at 250, pulled them out of the foil, and now we're gonna brush them with barbecue and do 1 more hour. These things are already fall off the bone ready. These are awesome. I can't wait to try them. All right, here we go. We're gonna slice up these Rhino ribs, serving them with kicked up cowboy beans, red potato salad, and that sauce that we made earlier. Can't wait. Okay. All right, let's dig into these things. They look like they're fall off the bone.